All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. This is We've Been Drinking MMA. This is Backhand.
This is Lousy.
And, dude, this is the main event. The moment we've been waiting for. Marlon Vera versus Cory Sandhagen at 135 pounds. I'm just going to say right now, quickly, I'm going with Marlon Vera.
And I'm going Cory Sandhagen.
This has got to be... Anytime we pick, like, the opposite fighter, it becomes, like, an absolute banger of a fight. And anything can happen. And this is amazing. Let's look at the stats real quick before we start breaking down why we think each guy's going to win. First of all, any guy can win. They're both freaking phenomenal strikers. There's no wrestling. There's not going to be like almost... I mean, Sandhagen tries to overtake it, but he's not a wrestler. He's got 0.7 takedowns per fight, so he doesn't have a takedown. And Marlon Vera has 0.7 as well, so he doesn't have any takedowns in a fight, basically.
It's the same fighter.
Same fighter, man. Same reach, basically. The only difference is that Cory Sandhagen is 3 inches taller and has 2 more significant strikes per minute. He's got 6 significant strikes per minute, and Marlon Vera has 4 significant strikes per minute. So a little slight advantage to Cory Sandhagen with the volume. But we all know that Vera has the great equalizer, the power.
Yes.
In his hands and in his feet, as he showed in his last fight versus...
He's not shy with those elbows either.
No.
But with Sandhagen, with his strikes, it just doesn't come with one. It comes with combinations. That's why I like Sandhagen. We've been talking this fight up for months, and just off of this podcast, we really, oh my God, this fight's happening. This is great. So get your popcorn ready, guys. This is gonna be a good fight. So, but I think Sandhagen's gonna win. And my buddy over here thinks Vera. You can't go wrong with either one. I wouldn't even want to put money on this fight, but because it's going to be so entertaining.
It's so entertaining.
If this were on a pay-per-view, I would not. Okay, that makes sense, because it's going 2 really, really good fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Cheeto versus Sandhagen. But Sandhagen, in my opinion, is going to win. I don't have a good explanation.
No, the volume of strikes. You like the volume of strikes versus the power.
Yeah.
You like he's going to land more strikes.
Yes.
And he does land more. He does land more strikes. The reason I'm going with Vera is he's on a 4-fight winning streak. You know, he lost to Aldo about 3 years ago. Jose Aldo, the legend. Ever since then, he's on a 4-fight win streak. He had a decision win over Davey Grant, who had a nice comeback win the other week. KO over the legend Frankie Edgar. A unanimous decision over Rob Font, who was a contender. And then the former GOAT at 135, Dominic Cruz, he KO'd him, obliterated him. So this is the reason that I'm going with Marlon Vera, is what he did to Dominic Cruz. It took him 4 rounds, but he got the KO. And that's a big reason why I'm picking him, is because... Well, honestly, I was going to say Marlon Vera gets better as the fight goes on, but so does Sandhagen. That's the thing. They both get better as the fight goes on. So that's why it's a phenomenal style matchup. They, like, round for round, they're equal. Like, the first round, definitely, they're both feeling out they both have the same game plan, except obviously Vera's a power striker and Sandhagen's a volume striker, but they both feel their opponent out in the first round. They try different things, different angles. They both like to go forward a little bit. And then they start to get defensive as the rounds go on, and not defensive, but just a little bit more distance keeps the stand farther away.
They are like diesel engines. The way it takes a while for them to warm up, but once they warm up, they're gonna go for hours.
Mm-hmm.
So, because they have amazing cardio, they're not gonna gas out. They might get caught with a punch because of the fight, but like, they're not going to gas out because they're throwing punches. I don't think so anyway. So, what do you think?
I mean, I think there's so many fights to be made at 135, right? But it's always like a wrestler boxer versus like some like slow striker, or fast striker versus some guy who's got some wrestling, a little bit of wrestling. Regardless, this is the fight, though. This is the fight that people want to see. It's a pay-per-view worthy fight because both fighters their losses only come to the absolute top legends of the sport in that weight class. What's his name? Sandhagen only has 2 losses in his last, 5 fights, and both of them come to the champions, or former champion, TJ Dillashaw and Peter Yan. Vera, has 1 loss in his last 5 fights, comes to against Aldo, who is the GOAT at 145, or the weight class higher than this. So it's just phenomenal. These guys are top tier. And the reason I'm going with Marlon Vera, so this is the thing for me. Marlon Vera likes to go forward. Sandhagen likes to go forward in the beginning. However, lately he lost to TJ Dillashaw. And that was about 3 fights ago. And he lost to wrestling. And that bothered him. I remember him saying, Cory Sandhagen saying in an interview, I don't need to necessarily change my striking. I just need to incorporate more wrestling. I need to become more of a mixed martial artist. And that's what I saw him do in his last fight versus Song Yadong. Song Yadong is a phenomenal striker, very fast strikes, great counters. And, Sandhagen, the first 2 rounds were kind of iffy. He could have lost the first round. It was very close. And the reason is for that is that Sandhagen went for 4 takedowns, all failed attempts. But it shows that he's trying to incorporate wrestling into his fights. Now, so my point is Sandhagen is still figuring out who he is. Now, Marlon Vera, in the first round, he's also a little bit slow starter, but he goes forward, puts the pressure, and he got a knockdown over Dominic Cruz in the first round. That's why I'm thinking edge towards Marlon Vera in the first round. In the second round, Dominic kind of, got a few more strikes than Marlon Vera, got round 2. Sandhagen gets a little bit faster in round 2, so, round 2 could go to Sandhagen. Yeah. So either way, either of those, the first 2 rounds, I feel it can go either way. I think each of them will get a round. I don't know which one, but I'm thinking round 1 for Vera, round 2 for Sandhagen. Round 3 is when both of them start to back up a little bit and create more distance because now they know their reads on their opponents. They've tried all the things, the tactics in the first 2 rounds. And that's why it's so exciting because now they'll start to back up. Now Vera won't get leg kicked like he did in the first 2 rounds versus Dominic Cruz. Vera now backs up and then evades the kicks. He's got the reads on the defense. Sandhagen, same thing. He's now keeping the distance, not getting hit a lot at all. And so now Vera, when he goes forward in the 3rd round, Sandhagen's going to be backing up, but Sandhagen's going to be keeping the distance. But now they're both making reads. It's hard to predict, but I'm thinking that Vera, everything he throws is with power, but it's with easy power. He's not lunging into the punches. He's just throwing a pawing overhand. It's just easy. And that's the type of punches that he has. He can knock down, Dominic Cruz in the first round, gets the read in the 4th round. He literally baited Dominic Cruz in by letting Dominic, go a little bit closer. Then Cheeto pushed forward, and then Dominic dipped out like he always does and does his awkward dipping thing where he's dipping outside. And then Cheeto just timed him by going in a little bit more and then throwing the kick perfectly. So my point is that Cheeto is setting up knockouts, in my opinion, on another level. He studies his opponent with his coach, Jason Perillo, comes up with a game plan, knows it's going to happen. And with a 3-round fight, it could kind of go either way, I feel. But in a 5-round fight, I feel like Vera has that edge because he is setting up these knockouts really brilliant ways. Like I said, they're both keeping the distance in the later rounds, but the power can catch up. And Sandhagen is keeping the distance, but he's not necessarily throwing a bunch of strikes in the 3rd round. Sandhagen is just keeping that distance and throwing strikes, but Vera is keeping that distance and still being very aggressive, but still calculated. So I think as the fight goes on, Vera will up the strike count, and of course we know the power from Vera. So the power is going to add up in the 3rd, 4th, and possibly even 5th round if it goes. It's a phenomenal fight. It's a close fight. I just think that Vera is setting up those power shots, evading the leg kicks that Cory Sandhagen is so good at. And in the punching exchanges, I feel like Marlon Vera in the 3rd round and even 4th round started to really see Dominic Cruz's movements quickly. And he was reacting like he could see it. I could see him looking at Dominic Cruz's body, and that's why he was so confident in getting the knockout in the 4th round. He didn't care about dropping the 2nd and 3rd round because I really feel like in the 3rd round he started to see the movements, see the shots coming. He saw everything coming, and that's why he timed Dominic Cruz in the 4th round. Right now, his vision for seeing the strikes of his opponents, and Dominic Cruz is hard to see because he's so awkward. If he can do that with Dominic Cruz, he can do it to Cory Sandhagen. I just think right now his vision is amazing. So going with Vera.
I'm going with Sandhagen. Good analysis back end. Thank you for listening, everybody.